Hey, what's up, y'all? And welcome to another edition of the TBD podcast. That's not the official name of the podcast. As you guys may know, TBD stands for to be determined. Um, and we don't have a name for this podcast yet. We just talking shit. That's all I'm doing. And we're gonna let this organically become something. You know, the name is going to be grown organically. All right, that's the whole intent of me doing this. Because like a lot of times, one thing I suffer from in life is I suffer from analysis, or what? How do you say it? Um, Paralysis by analysis. That's what I suffer from, right? Where I'll sit and I want to make sure that everything is perfect and just right, and every little button is where it needs to be at, and everything is picture perfect. And then I start the shit, and then I just scrap it, and nothing ever gets produced. So I said, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, pardon my language. But I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this, and we gonna grow this shit organically. I cussed again or whatever. So, but anyways, yeah, like I said before in my other previous podcast, like one of my favorite movies of all time is Iron Man 1. And the reason I liked it is because of the recultivation of the suit, you know? Like first he had to repurpose his weapons to turn it into a suit to get him out of the Afghan like prison cell he was in, and then he made this big toaster oven suit and got out the cave, and escaped. But then he took it back and kept refining it and kept refining it and kept repurposing it, right? Not repurposing, but he kept refining the suit and making it better and better and better. And that's what I hope for with this podcast. Hopefully, you see that the audio right now is not good. The video isn't great, but eventually over time, I want to just keep refining it over time. You know what I'm saying? So, anywho, we gonna go ahead and get into it. Like right now, so for today, I have another genre. And if you've been following me or following anything I've been saying on these video podcasts, we don't have topics and we don't have genres. We have genrics, right? It's a combination of a genre and a topic, right? So today's new genre is going to be religion because that's affected my life in a big way. So buckle up, strap in, and let's go ahead and go for it. All right. But before we get going, for those of y'all that are on YouTube watching this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Mash that up. Tell your friends and subscribe, all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it. So genre number one is, as you guys know, speech impediments. Because I have a speech impediment, or I developed one when I was real young, and it was very, very bad. And I struggled with it from like the age of 7 all the way through shit college. But it was like weird. Like it definitely like it got better over time, but I still have it. I just have to like learn how to like manage the shit. Like I have to work with it. And that's what life's about. Life's about taking the hand that you've been dealt and making the most out of that shit. All right. So when it comes to speech impediments and shit, one thing that I'm not sure if other people out there like, or I'm not sure if other people out there with speech impediments, have gone through this or not. But one thing that I had to struggle with throughout like my life is, nigga, every birthday and Christmas I got some form of a tape recorder. Like I always got some sort of like tape recorder and shit. Like I got every tape recorder known to man back at my mom's house, man. I got I got the Fisher Price shit with the big buttons, you know. I got the voice activated joints. I got the little spy joints, the little small ones. I got the shit with the little mini tapes. I got all that shit, you know. And whenever I couldn't get my words out, or whenever I was like struggling to get my words out and stuff, um, I wouldn't say punishment, but I always, it was like nigga, go talk into the tape, like that's how this shit was, like no matter what it was, like the house could be burning down, or I could have got an A on an exam if I was overexcited and if I couldn't get my words out. It was, nigga, go talking to the tape. You know, and that was what I know a lot about, man. Is talking into tape recorders and shit. You know, and I used to cuss my tape recorder out, man. You know, I used to do little dumb shit. You know, like I would, like my folks would always say, go talking to the tape. So what I would do is I would take the tape out of the tape recorder and place it on the desk and be like, yeah, okay, so I'm talking into the tape, but I wonder why it's not recording. Oh, because you got to be talking into the tape recorder, motherfucker, not the tape. So once I put the tape back into the tape recorder and hit record, now we recording. Geniuses, man. Talking into the tape. I know a lot about talking into that tape, man. Talking into the tape, man. That was, man. And it was like weird, man. It's like a lot of people didn't realize that, you know, that I can talk fine into the tape, but like I just couldn't talk to people. You know what I'm saying? So right now I look like I can talk fine, right? But a lot of y'all will be surprised when you get around me. I might have a hiccup, or I might say one thing, or I might pause and double clutch and all that shit, and that's me trying to like prevent the bullshit from coming out. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. You know. But like I said in previous episodes of this joint, is when it comes to like speech impediments, man, it's like you can't, the one attitude I've learned, I think I did it right there. See, every time I do it, I'm gonna catch myself and say, see, I did something, I did it, I slipped up. And I kind of slipped up there a little bit, but but the one thing I try to always enforce and tell people that have speech impediments, man, is what you want to do is you have to own your shit. All right? There's no magic pill you can take. There's no magical therapist that's going to play a flute and suck the speech impediment out of you. You know, there's no list of exercises that you can do that's going to eliminate the shit. You just have to be like, look, you know, at the end of the day, this is my shit, and I have to be the scientist behind the shit. I have to be constantly studying myself. I have to be tinkering and playing with shit and having my little theories to own my shit, because the more you own it, the more comfortable you're going to be with it. And when you're comfortable with it, you can like fake people out with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to be a Debbie Downer, but nigga, that shit always, if you got it past a certain age, nigga, it's always gonna be there. It's always gonna be there, you know? Or at least the discomfort of it being there is always gonna be there, you know? But it's up to you to own it and know how to work with it, you know? It's like swimming in the water, you know? If you fight the water, it's gonna be a tough swim. But if you learn the currents and you learn how to go with the flow, you know, shit'll be a little easier. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't get easier, you just get stronger, right? It's a strong mindset. You know, you gotta have that mentality when you're dealing with this shit, because it's rough, man. You know? Like, sometimes, like, you may want to convey something serious and you get that and then people start laughing and shit, and now all of a sudden what you're saying ain't serious no more. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, sometimes, you know, people may judge you by how you sound. Like, oh, this nigga sounds stupid. Or this nigga sound dumb. He don't know what the fuck he talking about. Let's go to somebody else. Right? There's been times in my meetings where I'm asking like the right technical questions and I'm saying the right things, and my shit isn't coming out the way I want it to come out. And they're like, I can see it in their face. It's like, ignore this nigga. He don't know what the fuck he talking about. And I'm watching them fuck up the whole thing. So I'm just like, whatever, you know? So the more you learn how to accept what you have and just deal with it, the better, you know? And people gonna laugh, people gonna mimic you, people gonna say all kind of fucked up shit. But the end of the day is, they didn't have to deal with this shit, right? If they didn't have to deal with this shit, if they had to deal with this shit and they overcame it, that would be one thing. But the fact that they are not even dealing with it, they don't know what the fuck they talking about. So let the ignorant be ignorant, you know? That's all I can say about that. dry. Excuse me. That's what I would say with that shit, man. Own your shit. Like, you got to be a scientist and you got to be curious about your own shit. Right? Stop looking for people to bail you out. You know, no one's coming to save you. Right? No one's coming to save you. So you better save yourself, you know? That's how I live every day of my life, you know? No one's coming to save me. No one's coming to help me out, you know? And matter of fact, I don't even want people to help me. You know? Now, if I'm struggling and if I see a hand up there and if I need to grab onto it, then cool. But I'm not looking for no motherfucking hand, Joe. Like, I'll figure my own shit out. That's my attitude in life, you know? But yeah, man, them tape recorder days were funny, man. I mean, looking back, they were funny. But during that time period, nigga, that was those dark days, you know? At home, talking to a tape recorder, hoping that my shit would go away. Like, man, I'm gonna do this and I hope it just goes away. Man, I hope I do these exercises and shit improves. Nah, nigga, it ain't going nowhere. Why? Because I didn't have that mentality back then. Like, you gotta have that mentality, like you gotta have that mentality. See, I did it right there. Like, look, you gotta have that mentality, like, you know, hey, this shit ain't going nowhere. It's gonna torment me, but I'm just gonna accept it and I'm gonna deal with it, right? Like, what's that movie? Remember in The Beautiful Mind when there was that scene where all the people that he met that were, well, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen The Beautiful Mind by now, then I mean, that's not my fault. It's like 20 years old and shit. But in A Beautiful Mind, there was a scene where all the imaginary people that he met, he had to say goodbye to, you know? And that was him owning his shit. He was like, hey, look, man, y'all don't exist, so I got to say goodbye. So I'm going to be walking around. Even though I see you, I'm just know that I know that you're not real. And because I know that you're not real, don't get upset if, you know, I don't talk to you or pretend if you don't exist, right? And that's kind of like the same way how you got to kind of approach this whole speech impediment thing, right? It's like, look, you know it exists, right? And I'm doing things to get over it, but over time, I'm going to get stronger and I'm not going to let you run my life, right? And that's all it is to it, you know? My shit is still there, but nigga, if you took a tape recorder of me, or a tape recorder, if you took a video recorder of me or a video of me back when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, you'd be like, nigga, how the fuck are you here right now doing this? Like, you should be away from any kind of microphone or any sort of public speaking, period, you know? But whatever, fuck it. You know, I'm not perfect. And if people expect me to be perfect, then fuck them. Man, my throat. There we go. What else we got going on today, man? So, moving on. Let's talk about Simpin, the next genre, Simpin, right? So, I want to talk about where simping starts. I know exactly where it starts. It starts in the home and it starts in the school at an early age. So, for all my males out there with younger brothers, excuse me, man, I didn't mean to do that. For all of my males out there with younger siblings or younger brothers, especially, I want you to really pay attention to your younger brother's mindset in school and what's being taught in the home. And I want you to, not physically, I gotta make sure I gotta make sure I watch my words, but I want you to force the simp out of them. I would say beat the simp out of them, but that sounds too, you know, I don't mean physically. I mean socially beat the simp out of them. You know what I'm saying? And the way you do that is you look at the curriculum and you look at what schools and what the household is teaching your little brother and clown that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when I was in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, maybe like 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade or whatever and shit. We had Valentine's Day and shit, you know, and we used to have to like, bring in some candy and shit and wrap it up and like put like a little message to a female that we wanted to have a happy Valentine's Day for, and we thought that was supposed to make that chick like us and shit. That's where the bullshit starts. So, older brothers, if you see your younger brother come home with some simp homework assignments, clown that nigga. Right? Like, tell him, look, I don't condone in getting F's, but in this particular test or subject, don't do any of that shit. Don't participate in it. Take the F. If they want to give you an F, just say, yeah, hey, my bro told me not to fuck with this because it's gonna mess me up down the line in life. Oh, well, why don't you want to get some girls some candy? Because one, I don't know the chick. Two, I don't even know, and I don't even care if she like me because I like myself enough. I'm enough. I don't need to do some shit to make a chick like me to feel better about myself. That's simping. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit here and do some shit to raise an interest in a chick that, nah. But let's go back to our definition, right? Because we got to keep honing in on this definition because a lot of people hear what they want to hear whenever I talk about this definition, right? And my definition of simping is a simp is a dude who does things with the intent on either raising or keeping the interest of a chick, right? So when you're in school, first, second, third grade, and you doing these little handcrafting projects for Valentine's Day to give the girls, why are you doing that? You're doing that because you're being brainwashed into thinking that I can make somebody like me. And look, at the end of the day, you can't make anybody like you. Either they like you or they don't. Now, they may grow to like you, but that's not by anything that you're doing. Like, they just choose to fuck with you. And that's the key lesson that a lot of people don't learn in life, and that's what schools get wrong, in my opinion. They get that wrong. They think there's something you can do to make people like you. That's the worst advice ever, man. Like, I had a coworker of mine, this dude was my supervisor and shit, and like, you can just tell he was like very manipulative, man. Like, he was very artificial, like he didn't think that, I think he was in like Cub Scouts or some shit like that, but his whole thing was everyone had to be buddy to get the project done. We got to be best friends and buddy. No, we don't, nigga. I don't know you. I don't have to be buddy with you to get this shit done. Like, if you naturally like football, and that I naturally like football or whatever, and we naturally talk about stats and sports and shit, cool, we gonna have shit to talk about. You know what I'm saying? But this motherfucker would come to my desk talking about some football shit like he never watched the game. Here it is. I'm an analyst. Like, they should have me on TV analyzing football. But anyways, I'm not gonna get into all that's another conversation for another day. But he's coming up to me and saying like, hey, yeah, man, I don't watch football like that, man, but I went to my first game, and oh my God, I had a good time. Is this what you do for fun? Man, like, oh my God, like, man, like, what is it called when, I'm like, nigga, why are you talking to me? And then it's like he would get mad because, like, I would cut him off. I'm like, look, I got work to do, man. I got to get this shit done. All right? So, that's the most annoyingest thing, man. Now, see, so from that situation at work, I see how females feel. When you got a dude coming around that don't know shit about what you do or don't care about what you do, but he just wants you to be his friend. Nah, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Nah, that's some cornball shit. So like I said, if you're an older brother, you got a younger brother that's getting homework assignments to make little care packages and put candy in boxes for females and write little love notes for Valentine's Day to make themselves feel good, to make the females feel good, and you think that that's going to get the chick to like you, clown that nigga. Be like, look, take his homework and crumple that shit up and throw it in the trash. Be like, look, take that F. Trust me. Taking this F will serve you good in the future. That's the first lesson in life. You can't make people like you. You know what I mean? And when the teacher comes back and says, hey, Jimmy's not doing his homework for this little Valentine's Day project. He's getting A's and everything else, but he's not getting A's. He's not even doing the homework. Like, why is that? And then you write on the back of the homework, because you cannot make people like you. Period. Next lesson, and move on from that bullshit. That's where the shit starts. That's where the bullshit starts, yo. It starts early on in life where we're just taught to do something to try to garner the interest of a woman, and that's bullshit, right? If anything, males need to be taught how to recognize if a female has chosen them. That's where the effort needs to be at, right? A lot of dudes are so into getting the ass quick, or they're so into getting the chick quick, but they don't like study the shit. Like, they don't look around and say, you know what? When I'm hanging out with my friends, I noticed that this chick was always here, and this chick was like, like little shit like that, right? Like I do little like mental, not mental games, but I do little shit like this, right? Like, I'll go out and, matter of fact, I challenge y'all. Here's an exercise, okay? For all you simps or recovering simps out there. Here's an exercise. I did it right there. You see that? So I hesitate. I said that. I went. Alright, so fuck it, here we go, okay? Here's an exercise for y'all, okay? For all you simps out there. Go out to a bar, well, when COVID is over and shit. Go out to a bar, go out to like a venue. But go out to a venue because you want to go out there and you want to enjoy yourself and you want to have a good time. So what you do is you go out there, and what you do is, let's say for example you go into a sports bar or you're going somewhere to go watch the game, right, in public. Pay attention to the women who are in your viewing frustum without making direct eye contact. Pay attention to the women who are in your viewing frustum, right? And viewing frustum, that's a synthetic vision term from my engineering days, or from one of my engineering jobs, right? Basically, it's the three-dimensional viewing window of where you're at, right? This is called a frustum. Shit, okay? So basically just pay attention to the females in that area, right? If you see a female that you're attracted to, move to a different part of the venue while you can still watch your game and entertain yourself, and see if that chick inserts herself inside of your viewing frustum. If she does, it's possible that like she may be interested in you, but if she's not within your viewing frustum, I can almost 100% guarantee she's not interested in you. Right? The one thing I've realized in life is that women will they will force themselves in your view from a distance. You just have to pay attention to the shit. So, long story short, all I'm saying is put the energy into you instead of some chick, right? Put the energy into like just like being able to pick up on game, Instead of trying to find a chick you like and wanting just to go jump on her, not jump on her, but to go after her. Just like fall back and just study and just peep the game out and just see what is, that's where the effort needs to be at. The effort needs to be in the knowledge, not in the action, right? So enough simp talk. Let's move on to the next genre. The next genre is daily fantasy sports. Man, I thought I was gonna hit that millie this weekend or this past weekend, and that shit didn't work out. So I'm gonna start a little segment within my little DFS shit called whoa. It's gonna man, I did it again. See that? It's gonna be called Woe of the Week. Right? Like woe is when you feel bad about something and it's like, like sorrowful, right? So DFS woes. So my woe of the week, man, is Derek Carr, man. Derek Carr. This motherfucker, I think he was like $5,200 in DraftKings. And he put up 35 fantasy points, man. 35 fantasy points. And a big reason of that was because he could not cover no one could cover Darren Waller. Darren Waller was uncoverable that day. He did whatever he wanted to do, and I didn't pick up Darren Waller because I know, look, right, when you look at tight ends, right, you have to say, okay, is it a blocking tight end or is it a receiving tight end, and Travis Kelce and Darren Waller are receiving tight ends, right? They receive first and then they block second, so basically it's like having another wide receiver in the mix, and they're going to be around like 60. They're going to be around like low sixes to mid sixes when it comes to like salary value and shit, right? So at any given point in time, you know that they can go off, right? But they're not going to do it like every game or every other game, right? So Darren Waller put up 40 fantasy points, right? And yeah, it's always like tough with me. Like it's always tough with me in tight ends because tight ends, like I'm cool with just getting 20 points from a tight end. But if you want to win that millie, you got to be able to know when like Darren Waller is going to do what he did last week. But here's the shit, right? Here's the shit that got me mad, right? Derek Carr made the perfect list because of a bonehead play by the defensive coordinator of the Jets. Who was it? Mike Williams? I think it's Mike Williams, right? He used to coach the Bills. AKA, he's known for Bounty Gate. He's the one that put the bounties out on players and shit, back on the Saints. And this stupid ass went all out blitz on Derek Carr in the last play of the game and left Henry Ruggs ride the fuck open one-on-one on a fly route. Walk-off touchdown. That's why Derek Carr got all them points. Well, that's why he got 35, right? If he didn't do that, you got to take 4 points off minus the yard. It was like a 50-yard touchdown, right? So you got to think that I think that if Derek Carr didn't make that play, he's probably sub 30, and he did what he's supposed to do. That was a good day for him getting anything in the 20s. But because he had the walk-off touchdown, I'm like, man, whatever. So that's my woe of the week. But who else did I have in my lineup? I'm trying to think who else did I have. I had for my running backs, I had Nyheim Hines. And Nyheim Hines, I thought he was going to get busy and get loose, but they kind of had that three-headed monster in the backfield with the Colts, so that messed me up. But I'm not mad about that pick. And then I had who else did I have? I had who did I have for my other back? Let's go to the source. Why are we guessing this shit? Where we can just look at our shit. Let me see. Who else did I have in my spectacular lineup? I actually won some money. I didn't win a lot, but I got my money back. Who else did I have? I had so I had see that I did the app. Yeah. See that? See, I'm fucking my seat. This is so y'all know that this is real. I'm not bullshit when I say when I have a speech impediment. My shit is it comes and goes. Or I know how to work with it, but whatever. You guys get the point. So, anyways, I had Nick Chubb. I thought he was gonna go off. He didn't really do what he's supposed to do, and he was expensive. I had Nyheim Hines. I had Robert Woods, that wasn't a bad pick because he was actually in the Millie lineup for the person that won. He wasn't in the perfect list, but he was in the Millie lineup. I had Justin Jefferson, who made the perfect list. I had Corey Davis, who made the perfect list. I got with Goddard on the Eagles. Right, I spent 4 G's, got 11 points. 4 G's of salary money, not real money. So don't think I'm some baller and shit. I went Giovanni Bernard. I flexed Giovanni Bernard because I looked at his salary and he fell within my salary range. And I thought to myself, I know he's playing the Dolphins, but I was thinking to myself, who else they got? Sample not gonna get it done, right? And lo and behold, Boyd was wide open. I thought Boyd was getting ready to go off. That was a funny thing that happened on Sunday. So I didn't pick Boyd, but Boyd had that fly route that I think it was either a crossing pattern or something, but he had a 75-yard touchdown, right? And I'm sitting there damn, he about to go off. Then he gets into a fight on the sideline with a player on the opposite team, and then he gets tossed from the game. So I was like, man, that's fantasy sports for you right there. Whoever had Boyd in that lineup was probably mad as shit because he got kicked out, I think, like either the beginning of the third quarter or the end of the second quarter. But man, shit like that can happen, you know. And I wish DraftKings did that shit. I wish they did a better job of, you know. I wish what they did was in the lineups. I wish what they did was, if a player was out, they would like strike the player out, so you know, so you don't have to keep wondering like what happened to your player, you know. But he wasn't in my lineup, so I didn't give a shit. And then I went with the Lions defense. All right, a lot of y'all like, ew, why would you go with the Lions defense? Why would you go with the Lions defense? Well, it all goes back to my theory of whenever a head coach gets fired, the defense always shows up. I'm not gonna say they're gonna win the game, but the defense plays better, you know. And the defense did play better, but they didn't play like lights out better, right? Like typically the Lions get like 1 fantasy point a game on defense. This week they got 5 fantasy points, but we all know that New England showed up and put the clamps on them damn Chargers. They shut them out, so hey, that happens, you know. Woe is me, woe is me. But anyways, yeah, I'm still working on my next week lineup. I'm actually working on my Thursday lineup because I did the Monday night lineup. I put like a quarter in for the game for last night's game. Was it Ravens and Cowboys? And Miles Boykin was the dude that, like, he was the one that set it off, man. Like, if you didn't have Miles, like, the perfect lineup was, who was it? It was both quarterbacks, right? So it was Lamar Jackson, it was Andy Dalton, and then I knew to stay away from Zeke because Zeke don't look right. And then who'd I go? Who else was in the perfect line? It was what's that dude? Shit, I'm trying to think who the other one was. It was what's that third receiver on the Cowboys name? I should just pulled it up. I was doing good through like the third quarter, but everything fell apart. That's right, yeah, Hollywood Brown, Amari Cooper. I had Amari Cooper in my lineup. Michael Gallup, that's the third receiver for the Cowboys. Michael Gallup, man, he was the one that like went off. Michael Gallup and Miles Boykin, like those were the two you had to have in your lineup to get any bread. But anyways, you know, I lost a quarter, no big deal. So I got to work on this lineup for Thursday night game between the Patriots and the Rams. But anywho, enough fantasy talk, man. Let's go ahead and get into something else. Let's talk about school. Next genre is school, right? School. So one thing I learned in school late was the syllabus game, right? What is a syllabus? Most people would say, oh, a syllabus is just what the teacher's going to cover, and it's the grade breakdown, and it just shows what they're going to be covering, and it gives all the yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's the wordy answer, right? But in layman's terms, what is a syllabus? A syllabus is a contract, right? A syllabus is a contract between you and the teacher, all right? And when you get into the housing game and all this other kind of stuff, you know, when you look at contracts, you got to be able to spot a bullshit contract when you see it. Because look, some people will try to slip bullshit by you, and it's up to you to catch the bullshit, all right? So why do I say all this? Well, in my career, or in my career of academia, the syllabus game was something that I didn't catch on to until late. Like, I thought that they had to honor that shit, and really they don't, right? So I had one class when I was in this engineering program, and yeah, this guy, like, he looked like Leslie Nielsen from Naked Gun and shit. He had like white hair or whatever, like the short white haircut or whatever. and I could tell by his body language and his posture and just how he spoke that he was a hustler and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, um, he gave out the syllabus, and on the syllabus it said he was supposed to give out like 5 exams. No, it's gonna be 4. Sorry, it's gonna be he said he was gonna give out a total of 5 exams, and um, I think that was it. It was like 5. It was a real short syllabus with like 5 exams, and it just kind of broke down all the courses he was gonna go, all the subject matter he was gonna talk through or teach through or whatever, right? So the first exam, like I studied for the joint, but I did bad. I got like a D on that first test. I was like, damn, you know. So I went back, and what I do is I always study my old exams. Like I always study what I got wrong because that's how you learn. That's how you improve, you know. So the next exam, I studied all the other stuff I got wrong, how the exams work. I did all that, and I got a C plus on the next exam. So I'm moving up the chain, all right. Then like on my third exam, I studied or whatever, and you know, bust my ass. I looked at all my previous ones, um, and I got a B, or I got a B minus. So I'm improving with each exam, right? So on the fourth exam, I study. I go back over everything else again, and I study even harder, and I get a B, right? And then we have like a whole month of school left, right? We have a whole month of school left, and this motherfucker shows up to class talking about some, hey guys, um, I'm not gonna give a final exam. I'm not gonna give a fifth exam. So that's your grade, you know? So I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I thought per the syllabus you said, you know, that we have 5 exams, you know? And uh, right now I have a C in the class, you know, or a C plus in the class. This fifth exam, as you see, my trajectory, I'm going up, right? So is there anything I can do, like extra credit? I mean, but I want my fifth exam. He said, nope, I don't have to give it. Tough, deal with it. And I was like, oh wow, so I got to eat this C in this fucking class, right? Um, so what I learned is, um, so from that situation, I learned that the syllabus is like funny, you know, and at any given point in time, you know, if you sense, or here's the thing, right? If you catch it, like the sooner you catch the bullshit, the better. That's what I've learned from that situation, right? Like, um, so his syllabus basically, it was a little too empty. It was a little too simple, you know? Like it wasn't like detailed, you know? And if I would have grilled him before I got into the class and asked him certain questions, I would have probably seen that, okay, he's full of shit. So no matter what happens in this class, if I'm gonna take this class, I gotta get A's on every last fucking thing. I can't count on the entirety or the validity of his syllabus. Right? Another example with the syllabus game. Had another class I took in the engineering program I was in, and yeah. We had a new so I'm in a gateway class, right? Or a gatekeeping class, where basically this class is like the linchpin that determines whether you can move on to, you know, senior design project. Because, you know, senior design was something you have to qualify for in your junior year. You can't show up senior year talking about you want to do senior design. Like you got to already know that you're doing it like in your junior year. So they had some shit where they had this jackleg teacher that came in, nice guy, but just couldn't teach. And then he came in and he would just copy his notes on the board. He wouldn't say anything, or whatever, right? And then we asked him for a syllabus, and he said, oh, yes, I'm going to get that next week, right? And then we keep asking, and next week never came. So he's giving out quizzes and shit with no midterm. He's giving out quizzes with no syllabus. So I'm getting these quizzes, and I'm doing the bullshit, and I'm getting the A on these little quizzes or whatever. And then it's midterm time. It still ain't got no fucking syllabus. So I'm like, yo, what's the grade breakdown going to be? How's it going to work? Oh, Andre, you're fine. Don't worry. You're getting all A's on quizzes. Don't worry. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. I said, all right, cool. So his midterm was hard as shit. All right. He wanted us to derive the Fourier coefficients. Like, here's the thing. I mean, doing it now is not hard, but you don't ask no student that's doing like Fourier analysis or getting introduced to Fourier analysis to go derive that shit for an exam. Like, you don't ask that shit on the first exam. You say, how can you apply it, right? Because when you're in an engineering program, you're not in a math program, right? Like, mathematicians derive equations. Engineers need to learn how to use the shit, right? Like, you can derive anything you want to derive, but if you can't use the shit, what the fuck is the point? You know what I'm saying? But anyways, like I said, he had like 3 or 4 quizzes first half of the year. I'm knocking them quizzes out the park. Midterm come around, it was hard as shit, and I remember this shit. It was like it took us a long time. It was a hard midterm. So we're like now halfway into the second semester, or we're halfway into the second part of that class, and he hasn't given us back our midterm yet, and there's no syllabus. So I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this. So I go talk to him. I'm like, hey, do you have any update on the syllabus or the test? He goes, Andre, yes, I've graded the first half of your exam, and oh, you're looking good. Don't worry, you're getting A's on the quizzes, and your first half of your exam is looking good, so I wouldn't worry. I'm like, cool, fuck it, I don't gotta worry about shit. I'm good. So about 2 weeks before the final, he gives out 2 weeks before the final, he gives out the syllabus and returns our test, our midterm. And he's like, Andre, yes, man, not looking good, man. I graded the second half of your test, and it's not good. And I'm like, the fuck you mean not good? You said I was doing good. Then I look at, I did it right there. Then I look at the syllabus, right? I look at the syllabus, and it's like the quizzes that we did were worth like 1% of our grade, and the midterm is like half of our grade. So I'm like, nigga, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Let me stop cussing. I'm sorry. I'm putting this on YouTube, and I don't want people to, whatever, man. I'm talking free. But anyways, I was like, yo, like, so long story short, I had to retake that course again in the summertime so I could be eligible for senior design. But see, those are the games they play with the syllabus game. And here's the thing, right? I knew that something didn't smell right. Right? I went to my chair, right? And I said, hey, can I take this course? In the beginning, in the first 2 weeks of the course, I went to my chair and I said, look, can I take this course down the street at like another university? And he was like, nah, no, you can't do it because this is a core curriculum class and you have to do it here. And I'm like, well, look, you're not teaching the class, right? Look, man, we ain't got no syllabus. He's just copying notes on the board. I'm not learning nothing. Like, what can I work? Help me out, No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And I wasn't, right? I had to go shell out more money. I had to go take out more student loan money to go take it again, right? Then I had another class that was like that in like a year before that in my physics, where same thing happened, right? So long story short, what I'm saying is this, right? When it comes to your syllabus and whatever school that you're going to or taking, grill your teacher on that syllabus, right? Because let me get some water real quick. Grill your teacher on that syllabus. And why do I say this? Because when you grill your teacher on the syllabus, you're going to be able to tease out if whoever's teaching that class really thought about how they were going to teach the class, right? Like, think about it, right? If you got to pay all this bread to take this class, or if you got to pay this bread if you got to pay money to take this class or whatever, and the teacher hasn't even thought about how they were going to teach it, then why the fuck are you going to take it? Right? So you got to be able to screen for bullshit is what I'm trying to say. You got to be able to screen for the bullshit, Like, go to your teacher and ask him, hey, like, if there's no syllabus, First day of school, me personally, I wouldn't buy a textbook until they have a syllabus. Oh, me personally, I wouldn't buy a textbook. Period. That's just me. But I'll probably talk about that in like another episode. But if there's no syllabus, man, within the first week, if I were you, I would just drop the class. Right? I mean, that's bullshit, you know? And when they ask you why you dropping the course, write up, like, go to that department and write down, hey, I'm paying my money for this class. There's no syllabus. So why am I paying money for something where it's evident that someone has not thought about how they were going to teach this course, right? Like, I don't want to waste my time. You know, if you haven't thought about how you're going to teach this course, then I'll let you figure that shit out and waste someone else's money, but not my money. All right. So the syllabus is key, right? So as I've outlined in various examples, just because you get a syllabus doesn't mean that they're going to stick to it. But on the flip side, you need to go to your teacher and meet with them and discuss that syllabus. Okay, so we're going to be talking about this, and this. Okay, cool. Hey, I see that you say there's going to be quizzes in the midterm, but why aren't there any percentages there? So why aren't there any percentages next to how much each quiz or test is worth? You know, like how much, like why is there no grade breakdown? And watch them fumble. That they're gonna be like, well, and you gonna see, okay, they on that bullshit. They should know, right? And the reason why I think some teachers don't put weight and grade breakdowns on their syllabus is because it gives them more leeway to fit motherfuckers into a curve, right? It's all about that bell curve, right? They have to have a certain number of people fail. They have to have the majority of the class kind of pass, and then they have to have like one or two people that did exceptionally well, right? So they can get their accreditation or get their accreditation or whatever you call that shit for their scores to make them more marketable to sell to other students when it's time for enrollment, right? So that's how the game works, man. So two things to take away from this. When you get a syllabus, grill your teacher or your professor on that syllabus and spot and look out for bullshit. Like, you can tell by the answers they give you if they bullshitting you or not. Secondly, even if they go through all that and they have the syllabus like down to a T, they might change it, right? And just be aware of it. So your best bet is to just get A's as soon as possible. Like, just crush the material and get the grades as soon as possible. Don't try to, like, I mean, you're always supposed to, like, always do your best, but treat every exam like it's the last exam, because like I said in my one example, you know, they can always go back and renege on an exam, right? And you end up like me, right, in that situation. So anywho, let's get on to some work. Next genre, moving on to work. So I live my life by this model right here, right? And this model kind of sums up everything that, it kind of embodies everything I've been talking about, right? It kind of puts everything into the perspective, you know, spirit, right? And what I live my life by is the following. I live my life by this, right? And I think I made this up, or it could have been a hodgepodge of things I heard, but my life mantra is, if you not hustling, you getting hustled. Let me say that again. If you not hustling, you getting hustled. All right. It kind of goes back to like the whole like 48 laws of power, right? Where in the 48 laws of power, like the intro to the book is dope, right? The intro to the book, they say, like the guy said, Robert Greene or whoever wrote the book says, you know, he says a lot of people, when they hear books like this, and I'm paraphrasing, by the way, but he'll say, like, you know, like a lot of people, when they hear 48 Laws of Power, they'll think that this book is a manipulative book, you know, and they don't want to engage in certain games or engage in certain like behaviors. But the truth is, whether you choose to accept this knowledge or not, you're going to be subject to it, right? So basically, it's like, you know, yeah, you can say that's not me, I'm not going to manipulate people. Well, you don't have to read the book with the intent on manipulating people, but you can read the book so you can know when the bullshit is coming your way. So the action of you not reading the book and not taking heed to this knowledge will not excuse you from the game, right? So that's how it is. Like, that's the kind of life I live, right? Because through my experiences, like in my household, my folks tried to raise me right, quote unquote, I guess, right? Like, they wanted me to fall in line and do what the teacher says. Don't ask too many questions. Don't be difficult. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. And volunteer and donate and don't ask for nothing. Don't ask for anything for, like, I came from that kind of household. You know what I'm saying? And you know, to an extent, I mean, is it wrong? No, but I just feel like that mindset made my life harder, you know? Like, because at the end of the day, everyone's out here playing the game, right? And if you sit out here and think that there's some rule or someone's going to look out for you for being moral or being a good Samaritan, you're going to be living a long life, man. It's going to be rough. So, that's the thing I learned, man, is, you know, if you're not hustling, you getting hustled. Now, I'm not saying I'm out here trying to con people, but when a con artist come my way, I act dumb and I watch how this motherfucker moves, right? Like, I'll fall back and be like, I'll look stupid. I'll look like I can be duped, but I'm going to keep him guessing. You know what I mean? Like, that's the main thing, right? Is I'm not saying I'm going to try to go tit for tat and try to hustle someone that hustle me, but people that's coming at me with some bullshit, I'm going to do what I can to make shit uncomfortable to you. Like, I'm not going to cater to you, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? If you hustle me, you're going to have to, like, be real uncomfortable doing the shit during the process. Like, I'm not going to give you an easy layup with me, you know? But anywho, we're on the work genre, right? So why do I bring up this whole mantra of if you're not hustling, you're getting hustled, right? So I bring this up because when I was in school and when I came out of school, that wasn't a stutter. That was like my throat is getting dry, and I don't know why. Well, I know why. I'm talking a lot. That's why. But anyways, when I was in school, when I came out of school, like, I had this mindset of, okay, I've applied myself. I went through the that was a stutter. I went through the gambit. I went through all the trials and tribulations of school and work and everything, or school. I did the internships. I did all that shit. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, now when I'm in the workplace, everything is going to fit into a nice little block. And I'm going to do what I'm told, get this paycheck, and move on with life, you know? And that was the furthest thing from the truth, you know? And I had a mentor. She wasn't really, it was weird. It's like I had a mentor, but it was like, I don't even, like, it was someone that was high up in the game in my company. And I was told to reach out to a mentor back when I was a junior engineer or whatever. And she was like a VP or up there with the execs or whatever and stuff. And she pulled me aside, man. And it was weird because I forgot the chick name, but we met like one time and then she moved on from the company. But it was like she gave me some like real nuggets of like wisdom, you know? And what she told me was, which kind of applies to the whole if you're not hustling, you're getting hustled kind of mantra, is knowing the difference between working hard and working smart, right? So what she told me was, when it comes to getting back your mid-year evaluation or your end-year evaluation, is you never want to have comments on your review that say so-and-so works hard if you're an engineer. And I was like, why not? That sounds weird. Like, you know, like working hard. Like, doesn't every company want a hard worker? And she was like, yeah, they do, but engineers need to learn how to work smart. Like they're not hiring you to work hard, they're hiring you to work smart. They're hiring you for what's in your brain. All right? They are leasing your brain. Right? Think of your brain like a computer, and um, they want to offload some computation for you to go crunch on and to produce an output. Like that's what they want you to do, right? But just because you work harder and if you output a little bit less than what you're supposed to output, then you working hard isn't working, right? So I had a coworker, I had another mentor of mine, like a few years after that in my career, and I still talk to him every like now and again. This dude was smart, man, like real smart dude, man. And he was like, he was an older sage, you know, and he was smart because he knew the politics and he knew the technology like very well. But you know, he was lazy as shit, and he would even tell you himself he's lazy as shit. You know, and the thing is he could afford to be lazy. I think he even said this to me. He said, look, I can afford to be lazy because I'm just that smart. And that's arrogant. People might be like, oh, that's arrogant. But when you see like the moves and what he does, you're like, okay, yeah, this dude is smart. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and schools and work don't teach you this, right? They just tell you got to do this and you got to do what you're told, right? But there's ways to do what you're told, you know? So coming in and busting your ass and doing 120%, you know, and driving yourself crazy, you know, working 80 hours a week, I mean, that's going to burn you out. You know what I'm saying? But at the same token, you might not even be meeting what the company wants you to do, or you might not even be in tune with what they want, you know? So a lot of work has to deal with knowing what they expect of you and then knowing how to efficiently do that. And on top of that, it's being able to output it at just the rate they want so that you don't burn yourself out, right? Because your job, and a lot of people will get mad when I say this, but I'm gonna say it, I don't give a shit. But when a company hires an employee, right, you gotta think about it, right? When a company hires an employee, they're trying to get the cheapest employee to do the most work possible. Like if they could get someone to work for them for damn near free to get the most work out of them, they would do that. You know? So if that's how an employer thinks, why should the employees think, okay, well, why should the employee mindset be, shit, okay, what's the minimal amount of effort I have to do to barely meet what they want so I can get this check? It's a game, right? At the end of the day, it's like, if you don't think that way, guess what? You're being hustled because you're giving more energy to something that's going to make the company more and make you less over time. And then when they done with you, they're going to dispose of you. Sorry, I used the wrong word. But you get the point, right? So that's what I'm saying. You got to have that mentality, man. If you're not hustling, you getting hustled. Right? So by no means am I saying to go out here and be lazy or to just be a sloth, but know where to put your energy into, right? I think in this one book I read, it was either the art of not giving a fuck, or it was either that book or it was the confidence gap. But in this book they said that, you know, one thing, I forgot what book it was, but they said, and it was deep and it struck a chord with me. It said, look, you can't give 100% to everything you do. You just can't, right? Your energy is not infinite. Like, you're not God, right? So you can't give 100% to everything you give. So you have to learn what is important to you and learn how to ration out your effort and your energy, you know? Now, if you personally have like a passion for working for somebody else and making them money, making them rich and doing all that, and you don't mind that, then that's you. You know what I'm saying? But to me, it's like, why am I going to work and spend 110% on a company that probably doesn't give 1% to me, right? So I look at work like a tool, like a lot of people want to climb this corporate ladder and they want to be senior or they want to be VP. Okay, cool, that's them. Like, I don't want that shit. I got other things outside of work that's popping. So I'm using my job to fund something else. I'm not going to tell you what that is because none of your damn business. But I'm hustling. And that's all you need to know, right? End of the story, or moral of the story is, at the end of the day, or in conclusion, if you're not hustling, you are getting hustled. So think about that in every aspect of your life. Like where am I not hustling at? And where I'm not hustling at, am I getting hustled? All right. So moving on to the final genre, or the new genre, right? Religion. So all I'm gonna say is this: if you're a parent, like, look, if you're a parent, of course it's necessary, or of course you want what's best for your kid, right? But when it comes to determining which school or religion to bring your kid up in, if you are not practicing a religion actively, don't put your kid into some institution that teaches another religion or that teaches a religion, period. Let me say that again. If you are a parent and you want to put your kid into a institution or a learning institution, if you are not actively practicing your religion, don't put them into an institution where one is practiced. And I'm living proof of that, right? Because I'm all messed up in the head right now, I mean, people might say I'm crazy. I don't give a shit. I mean, but it is what it is, So I grew up in the Methodist church, and then my folks wanted me to go to medical school. So they wanted me to grow up they wanted me to kind of go to a school that was kind of like similar, I guess, to the British West Indies system or whatever. And the school system that was close to that was the Seventh-day Adventist school system, right? So they wanted me to go to this religious school, not for the religion, but they wanted me to go there because it was supposed to set me up to go to medical school and be a doctor and stuff, right? So, and nigga, that shit was hell. Let me just put that to you, okay? So my folks, love my folks, what I'm saying? This is just constructive criticism. It's not like I'm not bashing them, but it's like, their mentality when I was younger was they graduated from church, right? Their mentality was, oh, we did that we did that as a kid, so you got to do it as a kid. And I'm like, okay, that didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, So I'm getting dropped off into different churches and stuff to go to church on Sundays or whatever. It was like daycare to them, I guess, right? I guess maybe I've been around the house so much, maybe they got tired of me being in the crib. Not tired, but maybe, they wanted a break and they looked at that shit as like a babysitting service, Let's go drop this nigga off in the church so we don't gotta watch him for a couple hours. Let's give us a break, like, you know what I'm saying? So I had to go to church when I was younger. The church I went to, like, it wasn't bad, but it was just like, it was a lot of drama, man. It was like you saw the preacher in the pulpit in the long robe, sweating and hollering and jumping up and down, and you saw the females in the congregation, rolling over and crying, and it was just like, man, every Sunday was like that. I'm like, damn, and then on top of that, like, I had to go to a 7-day Adventist school during the week. So I was going to a 7-day Adventist school like Monday through Friday, and then I was going to a Methodist church on Sunday. Right? And there were some times I had to actually go to Sabbath and stuff like that and do Sabbath because I was in a program that was doing something for the church at my other school. right? So it's very like it was not uncommon for me to have church shoved down my throat 7 days a week. So like 5 days a week, I'm in parochial school, right? We got like chapel in the morning, then we got like prayer requests and stuff, and then we got have like a religion class every day, right? And then Saturday, or I'm sorry, Friday evening was Vespers, right? You gotta do the whole Vespers thing, and you know, and then get up and do church on Saturday, and then I gotta turn around and then I gotta go to church through Mount Zion, or not Mount Zion, but like Methodist church on Sunday. You know what I mean? So why do I say all this, right? Because if you're a parent, right, you should be actively practicing your like. I'm not trying to say, I'm not trying to tell people that they should be religious or not. But if you're gonna force your kid into something, make sure that you at least are actively practicing that shit. Because I'm hearing shit from strangers every day. You know, hey, if you watch the Smurfs, nigga, you going to hell. The fuck, my Smurf going to hell. Hey, if you live in a household where your parents are not unmarried, or if you live in a household where your parents are not married, you need to pray for your bloodline because you going down the wrong path. I'm like, but I didn't do anything. I'm just in school trying to learn. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all this shit, right? And then when I'm at my 7-day Adventist school, the thing that was kind of like trippy to me, I wouldn't even say trippy. It was just corny, which is why I didn't really get down with them like that. But Monday through Thursday, these motherfuckers was like, not everybody, but Monday through Thursday, some of these dudes could be assholes, man. Like some of these motherfuckers was assholes, man. Like they would like pick on you, they would tease you and do all this shit. But then when Friday comes around, they know that Friday is the day before the Sabbath. These fucking bullies and shit would all of a sudden be nice. Hey man, God bless. Hey man, happy Sabbath. Hey man, God bless. I'm like, nigga, what the fuck is this? I'm like, nigga, didn't you hate me yesterday for some cornball shit, man? And then it's like, when your parents don't actively practice it, they don't know how to help you navigate that shit, It's like, you got to deal with that shit, So, I say all this because, my family as a whole, they're probably not happy where I'm at in life, Like, to them, I should be married and with kids and all this shit, right? But I've seen, like, all ends of the spectrum, Like, I know people that are in loving relationships and got kids and families and all that and the third, but growing up, man, these dudes was, I'm not gonna say they were pieces of shit, but they was out here getting it. Like they were no saint. You know what I'm saying? And here it is, it's like, I think that I'm not at where they want me to be at because they put me in institutions where I had to deal with shit that a lot of people didn't have to deal with, So, it's like it's a lot, man. Like it's a whole lot of stuff. It's just like church and school and church and just everyday life don't mix, yo. It's like it just doesn't. Like if people are coming out that book and they're telling you, look, the book says this, but then you growing up around people that do this and they think that they're right. Now it's like you're constantly doing this. Like it's a constant tug of war where it's like, oh man, well, my family wants this and they're kind of okay, or things are good, but book says this, and it's this constant tug of war. And if they were subject to that and if they had to deal with everything that I had to deal with, either one, they would change up their life. At the end of the day, all I'm really asking for, not asking for, but at the end of the day, the reason why I'm saying, like, if you're a parent, like, you should, if you're going to put your kid into a parochial school, make sure that you practice the religion that they're teaching. All the reason why I'm saying that is because you want continuity, right? Like, you don't want your kid to have different realities pulling them back and forth, right? Because what's going to happen is, the reality that you want them to have might not be what the religion says it's supposed to be, right? So now it's like this kid is kind of like, I'm just constant, like the student or the kid is constantly being torn between different ideologies, and at the end of the day, I'm not saying that one is right or one is wrong, but one has a book to back this shit up, where the other one is like, well, do because I say so, right? So, in conclusion, yeah, don't send your kid to parochial. Now, I'm not saying don't send your kid to parochial school. Just make sure that you believe whatever they teaching, and if you don't, or if you're gonna have a problem with it, um, just know that things probably aren't gonna be like things probably aren't gonna like be as pristine and as clear cut as you would like them to be. So that's the end of episode 4. We made it. So if y'all made it this far, thank you for listening. Make sure you smash up that like button, smash up, the like button. What else? Yeah, if you want to talk about stuff in the comments, make sure you like chime in the comments. I like to hear what you guys think. Because like I said, when you guys like chime in the comment section, what that'll do is shit, I might be able to read that and pull another topic out the joint or another genre out of that, right? And be able to keep the party train moving, So yeah, that's all I got to say. I don't know how to end the joint. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. Also, if you have ideas for what I should call this video podcast, please put it in the comment section below. Like I said, I'm trying to grow this shit. I'm trying to grow everything organically. This is organic. Like I'm not gonna sit down and suffer from analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis. I want everything to grow organically, right? So, thanks again for listening. And that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.